Time to sound off, Husker Nation. This is your Real Red Reaction Show on Lincoln's KFOR. Call the show now at 402-489-1240.
Welcome to it. It's a big red victory today, 28-21, a grinder against Northwestern. It looked good. It looked bleak once Northwestern tied things up at 21 apiece, and a masterful drive by Nebraska, 13 plays, 60 yards, 4 for 4 on third down conversions to get into the end zone. Emmett Johnson's second touchdown of the day. Fellas, a lot to talk about, and appreciate all of you being with us here on Real Red Reaction with KFOR, KFORnow.com, 489-1240 to join us here as we take you through this afternoon. Nebraska gets to 6-2. And Elijah Motzi, a major gut check game for Nebraska. They answered the bell. They lived to see another week. They can celebrate a win. And it was centered around an emphasis on the ground game. Not perfect, but you'll take it if you're Nebraska. You did enough defensively to keep Northwestern at bay. And the spark of the ball game to start off that third quarter, Kenneth Williams, the 95-yard kickoff return got Nebraska going in that second half. You'll take it. You'll learn from it. And Nebraska able to bounce back. That 4th and 2 spot double catch call really turned things sideways, Elijah. And Nebraska reeling from that moment, but they answered the bell with that go-ahead touchdown drive after the interception by Buda Wright.
Well, we'll get to the refs in a bit. They weren't good today, but they weren't great both ways. I mean, they gave you that football game late, not throwing the flag on Marshall, and what was a pretty clear hold to me on the most important play of the football game. So we'll get to that in a second. I do want to say, first off, I'll take my quick victory lap because I said in the pregame show it was going to take a big special teams play for Nebraska if they were going to get out of this one with a victory. They got that. I also said Nebraska was going to have to prove that they could go play a Big Ten West style football team and play it in Northwestern style, which is a little bit of ball control, run some time off of the clock, run the dang football, limit your own mistakes, and capitalize on the other team's mistakes. That is pretty definition of what Nebraska did today. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't going to be. We kind of knew that going into it. That's how Northwestern plays. They want to muddy it up and kind of bring you down to their level. But you escaped with the victory by doing it in a kind of Big Ten West style. It's a Nebraska version of a Big Ten West style, but I think they embraced that pace of play and style that Northwestern wanted to play and beat them doing it. So hats off to Nebraska. I know, Schmidt, you and I picked a Northwestern victory. I'll eat my crow on that right now. But what I saw today proves why I picked it, at least from a Northwestern point of view. Nebraska stood up to that Big Ten West growth style, embraced it, and played a heck of a football game.
Motzi, what did you see today, bud?
A number of things. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, a little faint, but
okay.
We'll run with it.
All right, I'll do my best here. But I think a couple of things stood out to me. Number one, early on in the game was composure, especially when there were a couple of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that were both whistled against Nebraska and Northwestern. That I thought was going to turn the game toward Northwestern's favor. But, it seemed like Nebraska, they weren't there emotionally most of the game until that final drive. And that final drive, I think, arguably was probably the most methodical one of the game, maybe one of the most methodical drives that they've put together all season long. The way that they were able to balance the time, take care of the ball, the third down conversions, there were 4 third down conversions on that drive. And I thought the way that they handled things offensively was, I think, arguably the best solid drive they've put together all season long, considering it's crunch time. You're tied at 21. Northwestern's got the momentum back, and now you got to drive downfield. But that interception was also a big difference, too. I thought at one point the defense today was going to let things go for Northwestern to take control and come away with the win. But that interception that set up that go-ahead drive for Nebraska in the fourth quarter obviously was a big turning point. The kickoff return to start the second half, obviously another big turning point today. But there are still some things, I think, with Nebraska that they still need to work out. And it seems like when they get punched in the mouth a couple of times, they tend to back off a little bit and then allow the other team to maybe take control of the game or get more of the momentum. But I think Nebraska responded well, especially late. But they need to have that mindset of just being that mad dog football team from the outset and not back off from any jabs that are thrown by other teams. Again, composure comes into play too. Tempers were flaring at several points during the game when you had plays that were already ruled dead. There was extracurriculars going on out of bounds. We saw that in the first half with the double unsportsmanlike conduct. Do I think this Nebraska team continues to improve? I do. I don't think they're near at the level that people want to be at. I mean, they still got a ways to go, fellas. This is not a well-polished football team by any stretch. And I think there were a lot of people that were talking at the beginning of the season based on what was happening during the spring, what was happening in the offseason and during fall camp, that this could be potentially a playoff team. And I'm not fully convinced from what you saw against Akron and Houston Christian. I was at the Houston Christian game, and I got to tell you, yeah, they looked very impressive considering who they played. But I still think they got a ways to go to be that team that could be a playoff caliber. Now you get your 6th win. You're bowl eligible. You got that monkey off your back. Now it's time to improve and get to a better, much more quality bowl game than you were at a year ago, and work from there. I think that's the goal you need to have right now, is to get better game by game. You're bowl eligible. You're going to play an extra game after the regular season is over with, but you also have to find a way to get better each week to move your stock up the ladder, plain and simple. I just don't think at this point, fellas, that this Nebraska team is at that caliber yet where they could be among the top 12 teams in the country to be considered for, obviously, because, they're not in the top 25 right now. But if things were different against Michigan, if things were definitely different last week against Minnesota, I mean, right now you're looking at a team that would be a playoff caliber team, but they're far from it, but they're getting better. Matt Rule is starting to make some progress. I think Matt Rule may be jumping on the coaching staff a little bit, getting on the players, asking them, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want to get back? How bad do you want to make it to the next level? That's the thing. And I think he's doing that. I think he did some butt chewing at halftime, I would imagine. Not sure, but I'm assuming he did, to get everybody fired up, because obviously the kickoff to start the second half was big. But at some point, though, you look at the second half and things just went into a lull, and Northwestern swung that momentum gate back in their direction. But I think today, the old cliche stands, a win's a win. And there's no doubt that they're getting better, but they still got a long way to go.
Let's get to Rock on the phone lines, 489-1240, Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens, 14th and Pine Lake, 84th at Old Cheney, and soon 84th and Adams. Rock, thanks for hanging on. Go ahead.
Well said, Jeff. I mean, you nailed it. Now, I hope we all have religion on how great and exciting and valuable special teams are. Save the day, may save the season. Credit to Rule. He fixed that, and he's got us a second consecutive bowl game. All good. Offensive line, I'm not impressed. They didn't really do much. The most of the yardage comes from, having to jiggle and wiggle. And this is not a good offensive club. It's just not. It's average at best. I appreciate that they tried to go deep a little more today, but it's not happening. And the running game, I mean, it's not a powerful running game. It's not a running game that dominates. And as for the defense, okay, we, stay of execution type of win. But I do remember, you can crack on him all you want, Tony White in short yardage stopped them far more often than not.
No, and Northwestern today, Rock, 7-14. Thanks for the phone call, partner. Appreciate you tuning in. Northwestern at 1.7-12. Nebraska, the last couple of third downs, able to get off the field. It was non-existent today. You did have that second to last play of the game hurry by Winery that hurried things up. But overall, Northwestern did a really good job a given time for their pass plays. Northwestern, of course, tying things up with that 56-yard touchdown run that was just painful to watch. You had a mass of humanity at the line of scrimmage. No one knew where the ball was, and the back squirts out and goes 56 yards. Then they get the 2-point conversion. But really what flipped this on its ear was that 4th down and 2 catch, and then it stands for a first down. Nebraska didn't respond the right way to that. Northwestern goes in and scores. I know in the moment you're probably frustrated on the defensive side of the ball, but minimal pass rush. Nebraska survived with what they allowed on the ground today. Northwestern ran for 172 yards, 5.7 a carry. And flipping it around, though, Nebraska ran for 150. Elijah, we said, as did Brandon Vogel, that's the number that Nebraska needed to get to today, was 155 or 150-ish, but Nebraska averaged 4 on the ground. That was good. It was pretty frustrating with Nebraska's passing game today, where they got the ball out quick. That's great, but a lot of times until that final drive, Nebraska threw these horizontal routes that were short of the sticks by a yard repeatedly, and they were hoping for a guy to make a play, make a man miss. Northwestern did a good job of tackling that, but you weren't even to the sticks to move the chains. But Nebraska gets the win, and you'll move forward for USC next week. You'll take it. Special teams gave the energy, and the offense did enough on the ground to make it happen. Emmett Johnson, every 5-yard run could have been a 2-yard loss. Not every, but that's how good he is getting his rushing yards.
Smitty, with the passing attack, I am not going to sit and fret about passing routes. I know, like, if you're talking like attention to detail, you'd like to have that route at the sticks. I'm not going to complain about it at this point in time, because what are the things we talked about this week in terms of giving Dylan Raiola more of a chance in the pocket? Rushing attack and quick passing game. I thought Nebraska did very well in both of those things today. It's one of the reasons why was Raiola sacked once or twice?
Just once.
Just once, I think, and then he had the one rush that was the fumble, and then another one that was just a gain of a couple yards early in the first quarter. So only sacked once, and it's because of the rushing attack. It's because of the quick passing attack. And if the trade-off of not getting sacked as much is not having as explosive of a passing attack, not having an attack that goes down the field, an attack that's reliant upon one of your pass catchers to make a man miss to pick up the first down, that's not something I can complain about right now based on how it's looked the last couple of weeks. That was a step forward. You talked about, Schmitty, your disappointment with Nebraska's pass rush not being able to get after Preston Stone, but it's the same reason why Northwestern had time that Nebraska had time. They ran the ball well, and they got the ball out of Preston Stone's hands before the pass rush had a chance to get there. Same thing Nebraska did offensively. I'll just say to wrap up my point, though, and reiterate, I'm not disappointed by only 150 passing yards from Dylan and the fact that a lot of his passing routes were breaking short of the sticks. Hey, that's why he wasn't harassed all day and under pressure, and that's why I think Nebraska was able to go win the football game.
I'm just saying, down in distance, that third and medium to short. I mean, you had some third down and shorts that you threw the ball with, Motzi, and you weren't at the sticks, and it was problematic. But no, Nebraska, first half wise, only had 3 drives. That opening drive touchdown, then they stall out, missed the field goal, and then the fumble at by Dylan on that third drive of the first half. But Nebraska twice inside the Northwestern 30 in the first half with 0 points. So Nebraska arguably 6 to 10 points left on the field there. And, when we talk about a team that's maturing, a team right now where Nebraska, again, this is the third game this season, they went up double digits on a team. To watch the team come back and tie him. Northwestern never took the lead. They had a chance to do it. They were in Nebraska territory after that Dylan Raiola interception. Northwestern, 4 plays later, returns the favor with the Buda-Wright interception. And then Nebraska goes and capitalizes. But just a ton of mood swings right now. Let's go to Tad with us. Tad joining a Real Red Reaction here on KFOR, KFORnow.com. Tad, thanks for calling.
Thank you, guys. Hey, great win. I would like to see Dana with all these bubbles and wrinkles that he tries to put in, and just to pound the football. I've been saying this forever, you guys know. pound the football. Let's get in an I formation. If we're going to do something funky, let's get a fullback in there and let's go out there and play some football because it's a great win. The bad news bears are still out there. There's our offensive line. But I just think that we're moving in the right direction. It's just we have to talk about simplifying and making it a smash mouth because that's what this conference is. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Tad. Yeah, Nebraska able to win a phone booth game. They had a mulligan Minnesota-type team, fellas, and Nebraska found a way to be physical enough to run the football. Captain says less Dillon, more offensive production. Folks are a little frustrated with his turnovers. The interception was eerily similar to the interception Tommy Armstrong threw back in 2013 that Northwestern returned. But, hey, I love that final drive by Dillon. He got in rhythm. And to your point, Elijah, the run game was the big reason Nebraska was able to have some time and, dare I say, be comfortable in the pocket today. So good work there by Turner Corcoran to come in as well after Teddy went down, which is sad to see. Nebraska's run game, the story today.
What is the prognosis? Have you heard anything down there about Teddy Prohaska?
I know he came out for the second half in street clothes with a brace on his right knee.
That's not good.
With his history of injuries, yeah. I think we can all.
That's not good.
We can all make a guess of what's going on. So thoughts are with Teddy based on just everything he's gone through in his career.
I want to go back and talk about Tad brought up the fullback. I mean. Are we past the days of bringing in the I formation setup anymore with this Husker offense? Everything is more spread, or you got the lone back or whatever. I mean, could you use a fullback? Absolutely. I think you could if you want to play that more smash mouth football, which the Big Ten is known to be. But I don't know if the Husker offense would ever go to an I formation. But
I don't know how many fullbacks you have on the team.
No, that's the other thing.
It lost the best candidate to injury in game 1 of the season.
Well, and here's the other thing. Now back to Emmett Johnson. My gosh, that man today showed how much leg strength he has carrying that football. He went into traffic. He was able to keep his feet moving, even when he was trying to pivot, spin out of tackles. I mean, my gosh, if you were to give a game ball to somebody today, it's Emmett Johnson. He saved Nebraska's bacon at times on offense running the ball. And even when the pass protection or just the protection in general on the offensive line would collapse and they would converge at the point of attack toward him, he was able to find ways to get out and even gain extra yards. I'm flat out impressed with how he has been playing in recent games, and especially today. I think this is one of the better games he's had all season and even in his career.
Oh, and I mean, one of the things we talked about this week and during our pregame show is looking forward. Emmett Johnson, he's going to have to be a bell cow. And I thought Mosey and Nelson in their limited snaps actually looked better today than they have in previous games. But Emmett Johnson, 27 carries, 29 total touches, 135 total yards of offense. Correct me if I'm wrong there. 139 yards of offense with 124 rushing yards on 27 carries. It's what you needed from him. It's what you're going to need from him moving forward. It was good to see Nebraska's offense embrace that and just say, you know what, with how Northwestern's going to play this game of football, we can't respond to their ball control by getting greedy and wanting to throw the football downfield. That's what happened last game. This game, I think, was a much better offensive game plan from Dana, and I want to give Dana his flowers by saying, you know what, you learned from your mistakes last week, and you came together ready to battle Northwestern in a Big Ten West type of style, Big Ten West type of game. That's why you won the football game today.
Well, and let's be honest, Nebraska, if they embrace this, as folks are piling into the single barrel for a little celebratory drink, we're down here for a while here with Real Red Reaction. The more Nebraska leans into this run game, emphasizes it, decides they can do it, the better things will work for them throwing the football, either off a play action. We saw some movement from Dillon in the pocket. You saw a little RPO where he had the nice slant route there to Hunter. The play that Elijah dialed up, I'm sure Dana checked with you, the incredible toe drag mini fade for the second touchdown for Nebraska. And off and running for Nebraska. But Duck touches on this, and we'll see if that continues to be who Nebraska is. It's what they've shown through 7 games right now 8 games, with the ability against some of the teams that they've been a favorite over. That's Northwestern, that's Maryland, that's Michigan State, where you're good enough to jump out and jump up 2 scores on a team, but then that door isn't slammed. Think about where the game went after that 4th and 2 call, where the first down sticks moved, and how big that was. Nebraska's response not great till that drive, but Northwestern say they don't get that. What does the game turn into then when it's 21-6 with, I don't know, 8 minutes left in the third quarter? Nebraska takes over, great field position. If that 4th and 2 is called differently on the spot, do you put Northwestern away instead? Butterfly effect, they score, interception, and they're able to tie the football game. But you can't just speak enough. You can't put a price tag on what Kenneth Williams' return did for this football team.
Yep.
You weren't sure what the offense was going to do coming out. Instead, they're able to go make it happen with that kickoff return and grow their lead to that double-digit situation. So you'll take it if you're Nebraska.
It's a part of complementary football. Nebraska needed a spark for that second half. They got it on the opening play, the opening kickoff with Kenneth Williams. You talk about like the Dylan Raiola mistake that he makes with that throw, never sees that linebacker lurking in the middle of the field. What does your defense do when Northwestern has a chance in field goal range? They go step up and make a play and get the ball back to your offense. Like, complementary football it wasn't perfect throughout the entire game today, but for the most part, like when you needed a big punt from Archie, he gave you a big punt and pinned Northwestern deep. Like,
he crushed 2 of them.
One
went into the end zone.
Wasn't perfect complementary football, but it was a great step up from what it has been in years past. It's one of the reasons why you came out on top of this football game.
And I will say this about Northwestern today. Hearing and reading about them in the pregame notes, more of a ground game offense, what they're averaging about 190 yards on the ground per game. And what did they do first play from scrimmage today? They throw the football. And I thought they threw the football a lot more than they normally did. I don't remember what the number of attempts they have per game, but it just seems like that they had to adjust their game offensively today because of what Nebraska was doing on defense at times with a ground attack. And I to Northwestern's credit, I thought they threw the ball fairly decent when they had to, but I was a little surprised to see them start to rely on more of their passing game, especially in some key moments in the second half to try to get the ball downfield.
489-1240 to get in here. Real Red Reaction powered by Slim Chickens here on KFOR. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal, Jeff Moats, 489-1240, 800-825-5865, 14th and Pine Lake, 84th Old Shady. For your Slim Chickens locations and soon to be 84th and Adams. More of your comments in the stream. We have Captain, we have Mike and Callie, Kevin in. Also, Duck checking in. Game Dog is here, along with I'm trying to decipher. They've shifted it on me. We talked a lot about response today, fellas, in the pregame, in the postgame. Elijah, you talked about, or in the pregame, you talked about pressure. Do you turn into a diamond, or do you get crushed by the pressure? I thought Nebraska responded pretty well today to the pressure, not only with the game plan, but with the execution of the run game, as Iowa's up 7-0 quickly on Minnesota. Both sides of the football, offense, when they had to be money to go break the tie, they did. Defensively, they got off the field on 4th and 6. Do we want to move to the officiating, Elijah? Do we want to go there? Do we want to take a detour to hell here and talk Big Ten officiating?
Abrupt movement. Abrupt movement. Now, this is a new rule for 2025. It was kind of based, Georgia's been doing this for years now, and the SEC got mad and they petitioned the NCAA and got a new rule change on this. And what it is defined as an intentional, coordinated, sudden movement of the defense in order to draw a false start. I'm not sure what I saw from Riley Van Poppel was intentional and coordinated. That looked like a late stim that just happened to be at the snap count. Okay, whatever. That's what's legislated. That one where he double catches it short of the first down. They uphold it as a first down. That was interesting. I'll say, on the flip side of it, on Heinrich Harburg's sneak on fourth down, I personally thought he was short, and they upheld that call as well. You have the missed holding call on Andrew Marshall on that big final play for Northwestern's offense.
He finally called a holding call against Northwestern on what would have been a monster run where poor old Guthrie gets wrapped up by a teddy bear and spiked. Finally, that was an obvious hold. But I'll say this, and Elijah, Motzi, you jump in here on this. This game in particular, I just saw Northwestern's offensive linemen constantly getting their hands all over Nebraska's defensive line. And I didn't see Nebraska's defensive line counter, or they were trying to use their hands, but it didn't look like it. It was just always that first punch, so to speak, by Northwestern. They were right there, and they were strong at the point of contact, and they were able to really move Nebraska in that interior where they wanted to go. And they had no answer, and it was really blatant, at least from what I saw today watching it, where there wasn't much Nebraska could do. Nebraska couldn't get much pressure, if any, but they stood up and made some stops and some situational football. But it came down to complementary football. It came down to all three phases stepping up in some key moments, and you will take it to get to 6-2 as Nebraska able to outscore Northwestern 21-15 in the second half. Going to halftime up 7-6. So big time gut check.
As we talk about the officiating here, and I think you brought this up on stream here, Schmitty. The fake Ed Foley says when you're up 21-6 at home, you need a killer instinct to go put a team away. That's one of the reasons why if this result went the other way, I would not have been a person that was blaming the officials.
No, you had your chances to put them away.
And I'll also say you shouldn't be surprised Nebraska didn't put Northwestern away, because they don't put teams away much. And Northwestern's team identity as a whole is they're going to fight until the very end. They're going to keep things close. They're going to put pressure on you and capitalize whenever you make mistakes. They had a chance to capitalize on that Dylan Riley interception to really change that game and change the momentum. Nebraska's defense makes a big play, and that's credit to the defense. It's credit to Javen Wright. But if you were sitting at home at 21-6 thinking, man, Nebraska's about to put this game away, I don't think you've been watching enough Northwestern this season.
You're wondering if
Northwestern's never out of the fight.
No, they hang around. Part of that's Nebraska allowing them to hang around. Part of that's just Northwestern. Get a kick out of this comment in the stream. Transfer madness. When it comes to being a Nebraska fan, his buddy went through too much dispensary product with this game.
Let me say this, fellas, about the officiating. Now, there were times, yes, that there were some missed holding calls. Obviously, the Northwestern catch, what was that, the fourth down or fourth down play where they got the first down, looked like he was short. I thought were a couple of questionable calls. However, I don't think that ultimately determined the direction where the game was going. Okay. This goes toward, I think, the Nebraska defense, and I'm not going to call out, I don't want to call out John Butler in particular, but you begin to wonder, what were they doing wrong in trying to defend what Northwestern was doing? Obviously, the ground attack, Northwestern, that's their bread and butter, but even their passing attack in that second half and a couple of big plays. And I thought, if anything is going to change this game and the way that Nebraska wanted it to go and go the other direction, it's got to be the defensive play calling more than anything. I mean, what are you doing for coverage? I mean, how are you defending? I thought that was going to come into play, especially in the second half, had Nebraska given that game away to Northwestern. But they get a big break. Javen Wright playing center field on defense, intercepting that pass from Stone. And that, of course, led to the opening or to the game-winning drive what turned out to be the game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. So I think that's what the difference was there. But had that not happened, I would have put the whole blame on the outcome of the game, mainly on the Nebraska defense. Now they handled Northwestern's attack in the second half.
Well, as you look at the stats here, I mean, to talk about just how Northwestern plays a football game and their own identity, they were either tied or led Nebraska in almost every single major statistic you can talk about in this football game. The teams were even on first down. Northwestern picked up one more third down than Nebraska, but they were even. They were both 50% on third down. More total yards from Northwestern, more passing yards from Northwestern, more rushing yards from Northwestern. Northwestern was less penalized with fewer penalty yards. The teams were even in turnovers. The only major statistic that Nebraska won in this football game that is anti-Northwestern was Nebraska won the time of possession. And that looms large in this football game because Northwestern, they're a week removed from surpassing, I think it was 40 minutes time of possession against Purdue. They had time of possession advantage against Penn State. Like, this is a team that wins a lot of football games doing what they did today, which is just really matching you throughout the football game, but playing field position, playing ball control, limiting your chances offensively. They did that very, very well today. Nebraska, just to their credit, ran the football pretty well, controlled the clock. They embraced that style that Northwestern wanted to play and kind of beat them playing their own game. That's a credit to Nebraska.
Nebraska also to get 7 points off turnovers with the interception that turned into 7 from Buddha's interception. Northwestern didn't score off of Dillon's interception. That's pretty key as well. Sorry, go ahead, Motzi.
I was going to say, now you get past this hurdle, and then you go up against USC next Saturday night. USC entering this weekend is another 5-2 team. You saw the graphic. You saw the teams that were, very competitive at 5-2 records in the Big Ten, and now USC comes into Lincoln next week. And now you begin to wonder, okay, how is Nebraska going to handle a Lincoln Riley coach football team? USC's had their ups and downs with Lincoln Riley. Is this USC team going to be just as competitive as Northwestern was today coming into Lincoln next weekend? I mean, that's the question I got.
It's USC's a whole different beast with what they can do running the football, with what they have at quarterback and his mobility, and then what they have with the skill wideouts on top of what they are athletically in their front seven and their secondary. I mean, SC is good as money, a good a team as money can buy. The way you beat USC next week is if you can be the tougher team on the lines of scrimmage. And I don't know, that jury's still out on Nebraska.
I would agree, too, because it just seems like Nebraska's offensive line against defensive pressure. Obviously, we've seen it happen in past games where there tends to be some breakdowns. The pocket breaks down, things go awry. And you got bigger athletes, as you alluded to out there at USC, bigger and stronger athletes. And can that bode well for Nebraska to be battling in the trenches next week to make sure that Dillon is on his game, Emmett Johnson is on his game? I want to back up here really quick. I want to say this. There were a couple of big passes today to Dane Key, and it just seems like to me he hasn't been a real big factor on the offense in the last couple of games, and even today. I think he made some good catches, but it seems like he's not involved as much as he was like maybe in the first few games of the season.
But to his credit, he hasn't been as involved, but the effort that he shows as a perimeter blocker, really, really good. He does a lot of the dirty work for the Husker offense that you might not see. And no, he hasn't been as involved in the offense. I don't think his separation against man-to-man coverage has been great. Nebraska, they found themselves with not as much time to throw in the backfield, less opportunities to let him go get a jump ball up on the sideline. But I think despite his somewhat lack of involvement, he has been just fantastic doing the dirty work, blocking, digging guys out. I mean, he comes in and cracks linebackers at times. It's some of the things that don't stand out in the box score that stand out to me with Dane Key's play.
Quick timeout. Your chance to jump in at 489-1240 here on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens, 14th and Pine Lake, 84th Old Shady, soon to be 84th and Adams. Go get a celebratory dessert at Slim Chickens. Get some wings, get some chicken fingers, get a crispy chicken sandwich. Go enjoy the great folks at Slim Chickens. 800-825-5865, the dial up, 489-1240. As we'll hear from Matt Rule, more of your thoughts in the stream as well, as you can find us as always on the Average Joe Sports Show and Real Red Reaction, YouTube, on KFOR, Facebook, and Twitter on the Average Joe Sports Show Twitter handle, AJ Sports Radio, at KFOR Radio on Twitter. And we'll have more of your thoughts, more of your phone calls, a timeout, more on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
JTV, Jewelry Television. With 80,000 jewelry looks, we're kind of a big deal. Even bigger with new lines of designer handbags, fragrances, and more. And biggest of all, because you could win a 7-night stay in Bali, spending money and thousands worth of JTV jewelry, making you kind of a big deal. Enter by December 7th at jtv.com/sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Then watch JTV on TV or shop jtv.com for big holiday deals.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays are for football. That's why we're here to help you get your next DIY project done, even when the clock isn't on your side. Whether that's a new Filtrete filter or Bosch and Cobalt power tools, Lowe's has everything you need to feel like the MVP of DIY. So get it done and earn your Sunday. Shop now, in-store and online. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
This is the Real Red Reaction Show. Phones are open now, 402-489-1240.
Back here at the Single Barrel, it's Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Pride of Fairbury is with us as Elijah Herbal checking in. And Snitley boys are here. Brian hanging out as well. Some of the Average Joes. They're kind enough to bring Elijah an old-fashioned and a Victory old-fashioned. Tastes wonderful. I am going to get jacked in the face by Bill Dolman, and he will take said old-fashioned and no doubt claim it as his own. I will not be sparring with the Pride of Fairbury. Billy D will get you on video here in a moment, but how we doing?
Can I ask quickly? What I'm just trying to figure out from the walk over to the stadium to hear what just happened.
Nebraska Northwestern just happened. And Brian said it best. You just can't be picky anymore, right, Elijah?
You can't. And I'm going to be picky here. Are there any delivery drivers in Lincoln that are willing to deliver one old-fashioned to the connoisseur media stations here at
3800 Cornhusker Highway.
I'm not sure about the open container laws, but man, it'd be pretty cool if someone could deliver that my way.
Put a lid on it.
But kind of back to a point that I've made a couple times back in our first segment, I like to get Bill's take on. What I saw from Nebraska today was a Husker team that kind of embraced how Northwestern was going to play that football game, ugly, ball control, field position game, and beat Northwestern playing that game. But it was kind of Nebraska's own twist on how Northwestern plays. But they looked a lot more prepared for that style of football game compared to how they looked last week against Minnesota.
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're good. We'll
Okay.
get you in the.
There we go.
There we go. Try to feel
Maybe.
better.
Maybe.
Yep. Now we
Okay.
have it. Now we're settled.
Nothing like technology.
Yeah.
So, look. It's a. I'm at a loss. Congratulations to Nebraska on gutting out a gritty win, and I thought the game-winning drive was maybe the best drive of the Matt Rule era. I think for Dylan Raiola, it was one of his best drives of the season, and that includes the Maryland one. When they needed to have it, they got it done. I didn't think they did anything too cute, too fancy. They relied on Emmett today. They did not put the game in Dylan Raiola's hands and say, okay, you got to go win it for us, which I think we've kind of said over the last few weeks is it can't always be, and we're going to try and make Dylan look like the hero every week. There's other guys on this team that can carry the load, and Emmett Johnson had a great game. Nebraska's offensive line did enough. There was, one sack, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was – I think this is a team victory in a lot of ways. Nebraska did enough today to lose it, but did enough to win it and got the big play on special teams. I would give Mike Eckler a lifetime contract at Nebraska because what he's done with revitalizing Nebraska special teams has been an incredible transformation from 1 year to the next or one generation to the next year. Nebraska hasn't had special teams play like that, and I can't remember. And even Archie Wilson had 2 punts today. One was a boomer, and the other, I think he averaged 55 yards on 2 punts. So I was thinking if Nebraska couldn't move the ball on that final drive and they had to change the field in the game, that Archie Wilson could probably get that done as well. But, it's a good win for Nebraska. It's bowl eligibility for Nebraska. I think that I think Nebraska was a better team today. And I'm not sure that you can say that and necessarily for every win that the Huskers have had, but that was a good, gritty win, and to do it at home. And hey, look, officiating is a tough job. I suggest this. I think they ought to put instant replay in football. I think that would be a good idea, and that way you could review the calls and see if the call that was made on the
they get it right.
Yeah, see on the 4th down. I mean, that was I can't
flip the game.
Well, it was crazy how the reviews didn't even matter today. They just went over to the monitor, said, "Cool, we'll uphold it," and walked back on the field.
Yeah, the 4th down, review on the Northwestern pass play was atrocious. Yeah, the contact was made beyond the sticks, but the actual catch was made just off the turf, a half yard behind.
Clearly.
And there was no doubt about it. I mean, it's like watching the Penn State game from '82 and going, I think that guy was out of bounds. I mean, that was not a catch. That was not a catch. And, yeah, for Nebraska to overcome that was got the crowd into it.
Yeah,
got the crowd into it because I think people were getting agitated with Nebraska, but every time there was a bad call, and there were a couple of them against Nebraska, that got the crowd into it, and I think that helped out. So, good overall win for the Huskers to get their 6th and become bowl eligible. Now let's see what you do with it.
Let it be known the refs were bad both ways. Heinrich Harburg, I still think, was short of that first down on that sneak in I think it was the first quarter. They didn't have an angle to overturn it. I'm sure that's what they'll say with that 4th down catch as well. They didn't have the angle to overturn it. It just feels pointless to have a review system in place if you're not going to make what I believe is the correct call. And they are trained and make the money for a reason. So maybe I should shut my mouth because it's probably a very difficult job. But they were pretty bad both ways for much of this football game.
The play to talk about is Andrew Marshall at the end of the game on the 4th and 6, where Iowa just got a pick 6, and this thing's getting very ugly in Iowa City against Minnesota.
That's a good Iowa team.
Yep, it is.
Well, Minnesota put it all on the field last week. They don't have anything left.
Well, they're down 17-0, and it clearly looks that way. A full house here at the Single Barrel. We invite you down. Real Red Reaction. Nebraska fans smiling as they survive Northwestern 28-21. And Nebraska looking like a pretty strong and confident team in the fourth quarter. The final 5 minutes, once that thing was tied, Nebraska able to put a good drive together, 13 plays, 60 yards, get into the end zone with Emmett for a second time to get up 28-21. So you have moments like last Friday. You have a bounce-back opportunity at a gut check today, and that's just what I'm going to keep saying. It was a gut check for this team this season, but it's a gut check for Matt Rule and his forward progress with the program. They answered, and it looked like it's so hard to kind of recapture that lightning when you're up 2 scores. But Nebraska did do that and made enough plays to make it happen. Buda Wright's interception was absolutely critical. I mean, I couldn't believe what I watched. I saw that happen, packed up, and then headed over here to the Single Barrel from the stadium. It looked like Buda was the receiver on that play, where Javen turned and was waiting to make the catch at home plate and then tag the runner out, because the break never happened for where Northwestern was trying to throw the receiver open, and that was a critical third down. So
Raiola's interception was exactly like the one he threw last year against UCLA.
Yeah,
just almost a mirror thing, and you're thinking that's about as bad as interception as a guy can throw. And then Stone was like, hold my
beer.
hold my pick.
Whiskey.
I can do one worse than that. And credit Javen Wright for holding on to the ball. Sometimes it's so right there for you to make the play.
Slow motion, the way he was waiting for it to get it.
Yeah, it looked like that drill where they send the tight end 8 yards down, they turn around, catch the ball, and just go in this little drill at practice. So good on Buda Wright to make that catch and hold on to it.
We're going to get to the phones here, 489-1240. We'll get to Matt Rule as well as Arizona Husker says, Yahoo, 6 wins. You'll take it. For sure you'll take it. Red Wine is in. And Merv with us here on the Real Red Reaction Show powered by Slim Chickens. Merv, go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great show, guys. Go Big Red. Congratulations to the Huskers. Hey, I had a comment, though. I am not smart enough to figure it out, but when we're sending 3 or sending 4, and we're dropping back to a man and or a zone coverage, and I'm concerned that we're not getting the rush on the quarterback, and we're sure playing off. Our corners are sure playing off the receivers. Is that strategy, or you think we're capable of putting more pressure? We're letting them have the easy, down and outs. So
the out routes.
Hey, they gutted it out. Congratulations, and but I've been disappointed in that when we do get a hurry, we force Stone into some bad situations, and so anyway, I'll just shut up and let you guys comment on that.
Well,
I appreciate it, Murph.
I'll start here by saying I think that the lack of pressure from Nebraska's defense today comes down to the same reason that Northwestern didn't get as much pressure on Nebraska today as maybe some people expected. It's the fact that as a defensive lineman, if you are playing against the run, you're not pinning your ears back to get after the passer. You can't get upfield as you'd like as a defensive end if you as you would, I guess, should say, getting after the passer. As a defensive tackle, you're more concerned about standing up your offensive lineman and playing your gap than you are about getting off that block and causing havoc. That's why teams that run the football are so much better about protecting their passer. That's why Nebraska back in the day did a great job keeping a guy like Tommy Frazier upright and he wasn't getting sacked. Whenever the defensive line is playing against the run, they can't play against the pass, essentially, or it makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, and I thought, Nebraska got gashed a couple of different times, specifically the 56-yard touchdown run for Northwestern, but they didn't want to give this offense an opportunity to just gash them for a big play. So they were going to play a little more conservatively, and Nebraska is going to have to make a decision because they're not getting home with just 3 or 4 guys. Now, on the second to last play of Northwestern's final possession, they did a zone blitz where, when Neri got the pressure, McCullough came off the edge, and then Lenhart dropped back. So they did something a little different that way. Where's the rush coming from? But overall, Stone had some quick throws, but Stone had time to let a play develop, and they tried to get downfield 3 times on Nebraska with some deep shots, but there just wasn't the fury that you saw against Michigan State, against the Northwestern quarterback. Now, to be honest, Northwestern's quarterback is somebody that is holding this team back. I know they're a 5-win team, but he's average at best. Had some turnover issues today, but he is somebody that isn't going to beat you. His job's to not go lose it for you. And, Nebraska didn't really get threatened by him much. It was more so Northwestern's run game that kept them in it. Preston made some decent throws, but he's not a dude. And I think the game plan was similar for Northwestern with what Minnesota had is let's get the run game established and then settle in the quarterback and let him create the balance with some of those easy completions. Had a couple of nice throws, had a couple of stupid decisions as well.
I don't think Nebraska had a sack today, did they?
No.
There were a couple.
I don't think they had a TFL today.
What's that?
I don't think they had a TFL today.
Yeah, I think they got pressure on him enough to let him know that they were there. So it wasn't as though he was completely fearless out there. So to that end, but you'd still like to see a couple of sacks from that group. And I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with Deshaun McCullough. I think that he's been a tremendous free agency acquisition for Nebraska. I think of all the players Nebraska defensively this season, he may be the most consistent and the most disruptive. Whether he gets there or not, he just always seems to be around the ball. So hats off to that guy because I think he's been really, really good for Nebraska. But look, they got to get to the quarterback. And if you can't get to Northwestern's guy, what are you going to do next week when Jordan Maeva comes to town? And I think Maeva, I know Sayans is now in the Heisman race, and Oregon's got a good quarterback, but I think Maeva may be one of the most dangerous
dynamic
quarterbacks.
Athlete.
I mean, he's so athletic. He's got such a strong arm, and he's, I think that there's real danger next week if you don't get to the quarterback at all because he can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with throws. He takes some chances, gets away with it. Today would have been the day to see a little bit more from Nebraska's pass rush getting to the quarterback, but they did enough. The guy made the mistakes and made a really bad one on that interception. I think that was due in part because Nebraska does have some attackers on defense, but
Sam's go ahead.
Sorry, and Sam, hang right there. We'll get there in a second. The difference between Northwestern and USC for Nebraska's defensive line is Northwestern is a team that runs to set up the pass. Whenever their passing game was going today, it was because it was in potential running downs. Whenever they had a pretty clear drop back situation, Nebraska's defense played pretty well and got good pressure on them. It's going to be a different game plan whenever you're going up against an offense that wants to pass to set up the run, which I think that's more aligned with what, say, Cincinnati tried to do at the beginning of the season against Nebraska. You haven't really quite seen that since. It's been a lot of teams that want to run to set up the pass. Michigan State being the exception. They're a team that likes to pass to set up the run. So, and Nebraska's defensive line had good success against Michigan State. So I'll be curious to see how it looks different whenever you as a defensive line are more comfortable pinning your ears back and getting after the passer and adjusting to the run as opposed to the other way around.
Sam, thanks for hanging tight. Welcome into Real Red Reaction. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I got 3 points I just want to make. First off, I don't understand why our defense doesn't run a 4-3-4 defense. Okay. I know. We want to have like 6 defensive backs or whatever. Okay. and you guys are going to dissect it, but with four down linemen, okay? You remember Grant Windstrom? You remember Jared Thomas? You remember the Peter brothers? Oh, yeah. Okay, now listen, man. 4 against 5, okay? And you sneak up them linebackers like Mike Minner. I know he doesn't play for us anymore, okay? And then secondly, I just want to say Emmett Johnson was a man on a mission today. That guy ran with passion, okay? I crunched the numbers. That guy ran for over 4.5 yards per carry, okay? Secondly, I would like to say thank God that we finally got a coach. And I'll tell you what, if Matt Rule is going to go to Penn State after what he's building here in Nebraska, go F yourself. Okay, that's all I got to say. Thanks, guys.
Sam, enjoy your Saturday.
And thank you, Sam, for the self-censorship at the end there. That was much appreciated.
He was ready.
Hey, Sam's getting better this season as well. There's no F-bomb today.
But he brings up the point about the 3 down defensive linemen. I about had an aneurysm whenever I was watching Nebraska on 1st and 10 against Northwestern have 3 down defensive linemen. And I don't remember them playing 4 down defensive linemen. They were playing a couple of 5 down defensive linemen fronts as well, which I saw and that was exciting. I was happy to see that against a team like Northwestern. No, but he's on to something. I was seeing 1st and 10, 3 down defensive linemen, and I was about to throw a brick through the TV.
Snitley boys are bugging out, saying fairly well.
Are they bringing me an old fashioned on their way out of town?
They might be.
They didn't bring me one, so a little disappointed in that. But
did Schmitty drink both?
I did not. I promise you, I did not. I haven't drank one yet.
Here's my thing on the Rule stuff. Matt Rule will leave Nebraska for ESPN. I don't think he's going to Penn State, even though people at Penn State might be saying, hey, they beat Northwestern, so they're bowl eligible already. I think that when Matt Rule leaves, it'll be for television. And that could be this year. I don't know. But I don't think he takes another coaching job. I think he's looking to get into TV, and that's what I think. So there you go.
Robert was wondering if Sam was calling from an Altel phone booth. Kansas Husker says 17 Busch Lights in. Don't know. I didn't keep count or make count. Let's go to the phone lines as Arizona Husker is in on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens, 84th and Old Shady, 14th and Pine Lake, soon to be 84th and Adams, to get all your Slim Chickens goodness. Arizona Huskers held on today, man. Thanks for calling.
You betcha. Thank you for taking the call. We watched the game in the garage because, like I told Elijah, it's only 75 down there, so it's awesome. And the golf course looking beautiful. You guys got to get down here. The only thing really, like Elijah said, the 3 down line, but also, come on, guys, what's with the screen? Really?
Did we lose?
Well, like, what was it, like 2nd and 18 and you're running a screen? I mean, come on. They did that a bunch of times today. Just quit throwing screens.
I'll take a 2nd and 18 screen that goes for 3 yards over a sack.
Yeah, and that's Arizona Husker. That's why he's calling it. There was zero faith in the time to drop back and throw and get downfield for a bigger pass play. So they went with what is safe, and I think you'd take it in a 1-score game today.
I was amazed at the number. Real quick, I was amazed at the number of Gary plays out of the Gary Kubiak playbook, where you've got 3rd down and 8, and you run a 6-yard out. I mean, Nebraska went for it on 3 4th downs today. I think they're all as a result of, breaking off your pass pattern shy of the sticks. I'm like, just another step or two, boys, and you got it. Now, was it Emmett? No, it was Ja'Cory Barney that had that.
It was Ja'Cory Barney. Yeah.
When he reached out, though, but somebody reached. I think it was Emmett.
It was Emmett. They
got
it.
Out and got that first down by.
But Ja'Cory came up like 2 yards short on his route.
Right, but he still. That was straight out of the Gary Kubiak playbook that I remember from my days in Houston. Matt Schaub was great at it.
Sure. Well, the end of the call, we got a holding call. Outstanding, right?
That's always on the bingo card, but rarely do you get that square filled in Big Ten
Yeah, it's
football.
like your survivor pool.
Yeah.
Like, what week will
Holding
you get
call.
it in?
Buy a damn lottery ticket today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Go Big Red. Bye.
Appreciate you. Good stuff. Arizona Husker 489-1240. 489-1240. 800-825-5865.
And one thing to note with those routes that break off short of the sticks, what's the way to put this? Defenses are guarding the sticks on like a third down. So I think the plan there is to get it short of the sticks and expect your wide receiver or your skill position guy to make a play, make a man miss. And if you end up a yard short, that's still better than a sack because you're trying to attack down past the sticks where the defense is really expecting the pass to go. Is this Elijah defending Dana Holgerson? A little bit. I didn't love it. It strikes me as poor attention to detail. But if there is a rationale for it, that would be it in my eyes is, hey, you're trying to catch the defense, guarding the sticks, you throw it short and you make a man miss and you pick up the first down. And, hey, you'll take a 4th and 1 over a 4th and 14 because you gave up the sack. That was kind of my read on it.
I think there is going to be a screaming session tomorrow going over film by Dana and his assistant with some of those third downs that it's third and 2, it's 3rd and 3, and you're going out for a 2-yard. And Dylan let the football go quickly, which is good. That's better, but the guy wasn't completely out of his break or at least cleared. So that was pretty maddening with those 3rd and short, 3rd and mediums where Nebraska was unable to move the chains.
All right, well, we're nitpicking then.
But
how is it that Nebraska, when it has a 4th and 1 inch or whatever, is barely making it on a quarterback sneak or whatever? Northwestern had a 3rd down and 2. I think 2, and went for it with a quarterback sneak and easily. I
watched that play. They fired off the football and absolutely moved the line of scrimmage.
Right.
I'll say this: Nebraska early on in the ball game did a great job on their offensive line. They were getting really good movement, good push. But you've got a back that is just maddening if you're a defense trying to try and tackle. Emmett's so good with his yards after contact. Who's with us? Nate. Nate joins us here on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Nate, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Nate, what do you say?
I don't know. I'm worried about Gertie the German, first off. How are we doing with that, Schmitty?
Gertrude was seen today. We are setting a trap for her. It's something we're doing tonight as soon as I'm done here, and hopefully we get her. She's been making the rounds.
She was spotted with a coyote, though, Schmitty.
I know.
I think the next thing we do, fellas, is we get Motzi with his bacon neck out there, the shirt he had on earlier, and Gertie will smell that and come running. What do you think?
I think Gertie's been offered food by everybody and anybody. She's visited more homes than DoorDash this week. So
we'll take the W today, fellas. Wish it was a little prettier, but appreciate what you guys are doing out there.
Hey, thank you, Nate. Appreciate the phone call, brother. 489-1240. Uncle Andy, my wonderful brother-in-law, is out on patrol. I checked in with my pet detective, and I was like, is Gertie in trouble? And she's like, no, that coyote would have pounced early if it was going to happen. I think her and Gertie are just hanging. Kranak was also going, Dr. Doolittle mode and saying, no, that coyote won't mess with Gertrude. So I hope that's the case because she's still limping around, but at least she's been seen. But our old friend Adam Carricker, that's where the German was hanging this morning in his backyard. But she's a mobile quarterback. So
yeah. An amazing story this week.
Oh, dear God.
Looking forward to coming.
Not enough whiskey in the world to deal with that. But Nebraska able to make it happen today. They are pulling a Gertie. They are surviving. As Matt with us here on Real Red Reaction. Matt, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Well, today was a maddening game because I think Nebraska should have won that game by 13 at the very least, but probably more like, when you add in the bad officiating, probably more like, I don't know, 20. But I don't want to be a little bit of a downer today, but look at the score of the Iowa-Minnesota game right now.
We're watching it right now, brother. Iowa's on fire. They hate Minnesota. They are looking for real.
Why can't Nebraska get up to play these lower level Big Ten teams? And I'm not saying Minnesota's not a good team. Last week, Nebraska got out physical by a Minnesota team. This week, they could have lost with a little bit of rep help to a lousy Northwestern team. And I mean, I'm slightly hopeful, but I'm not sure. I might see one win out of the next, maybe two. I think Penn State might be the easiest game we have left on the schedule now. Well, and because I discount UCLA, but where do you guys see us getting past maybe 7? Can we make it to 8? Because if Iowa plays like this, there's no way Nebraska beats Iowa playing like this.
They get to, they're at 6 now. I got to see how they play against a team that has all sorts of 5 stars and talent. Are they going to play up to their level of competition and play their best game next week against USC? They do that, they get out of Dodge with a win or pull a Michigan and they're right there. Maybe. I mean, every game that's left is losable, and I'd say 2 of the 4 are winnable.
Oh, I'd say 3 of the 4 are winnable. Maybe all 4 of them are winnable, just because when you have a rivalry game at home in Lincoln, I say it with rivalry games all the time. Sometimes you have to take what you know and throw it out the window. It's going to be a 1-score game. That game is going to be tied with Iowa in the 4th quarter, and someone's got to go kick a field goal to go and win it. That I can tell you about the Iowa game right now because it's a rivalry game. Nebraska will get up for it. Iowa will get up for it. I mean, they're all winnable from here on out, but they're all losable as well. This team is not special. They're a top 50 team. They're not a top 25 team. They are going to be in games with chances to win. And when you have games in the middle class of the Big Ten, which is what every game is from here on out, the game's going to come down to 5 to 10 plays. And you have to be on the winning side of those 5 to 10 plays more than you're on the losing side. And I can see Nebraska doing that in every game this year. Do I think they do? No, I don't think they're going to win out to close out the season, but I think they'll have a chance to win every single game because that's just how the middle class of the Big Ten goes.
Nebraska's 3-1 this season in 1-score games. That's
remarkable.
That's incredible because they've been excruciatingly tight, but they might be comfortable in those moments more so than some of these other teams they'll face. When you look at UCLA, I mean, they got bombed today, but UCLA, it's going to honestly, it's going to come down to Nebraska's run defense. Matt, how are they going to be able to?
That wasn't good.
Well, exactly. I mean, go ahead.
Short yardage play with a guy who he couldn't outrun most of the volleyball team running down there for a touchdown in Nebraska. The closest guy to him was 20 yards after he broke the containment at the line. They'd sucked the whole defense in, and that play has happened. Minnesota did the same thing. Michigan did the same thing. Maryland did the same thing. You figure out a play on a short yardage play like that, get the whole defense to rush towards the line of scrimmage. Nobody's out there to contain. There's no deep safety over the top to be able to force the guy even out of bounds. I mean, that same play has happened 4 times on Nebraska, and they've had no answer for it.
Well, and Matt, thanks for the phone call, bud. Appreciate you. You're right. It was a situation where about 3 guys on the back end didn't do their job. A couple of the linebackers peeked in and then didn't get outside, and then there was no secondary help on that 56-yard touchdown run. And then you got your edge guy. There was no edge set because he got absolutely obliterated and collapsed upon. So Northwestern, I'll say this, man, they got a good offensive line.
They always do. Yeah, I mean, Northwestern plays good fundamental football. And I asked this on the show yesterday. What is Nebraska's identity?
Well, right now it's running the football.
Well,
if you go off of today,
I still don't believe that. But Northwestern is.
You got to see it 2 games in a row, Bill.
Northwestern plays good. Northwestern plays good fundamental football with solid offensive lines. I thought they had a solid game plan. Their quarterback made a couple of mistakes and some bad overthrows. The interception was terrible. He had guys open and missed them. So they did not get good quarterback play. This is the first time in 3 weeks that Nebraska has had the better quarterback play. They didn't have the better quarterback at Maryland, even though they had the game-winning drive. They certainly didn't have better quarterback play last week at Minnesota. They did not put the game in Dylan Raiola's hands today. So it was more of a run-oriented offense of identity today for Nebraska. Northwestern's identity is good, solid, fundamental football built behind a very good offensive line, and it's been that way for a long time. Nebraska's identity is wonderful facilities. That's their identity. That's not on the field. We have all kinds of bells, whistles, and toys to give all those good girls and boys to come in and take a look at all this stuff. It doesn't translate necessarily to an identity on the field. But with Northwestern, you knew what you were going to get with them today. And Nebraska's defense did just enough, and Northwestern's quarterback made enough mistakes. Nebraska takes advantage and wins the game.
489-1240, 489-1240 to get in. Real Red Reaction from across the way. The other Brian checking in here and talking about what this season was going to be. Go ahead, bud.
Quickly, Schmidt, if we want to get Rule in here while we're still on the air, we're going to have to take a break here momentarily. But just to reiterate my point, today came down to 5 to 10 plays where Nebraska was on the winning side for more of those plays than they weren't. That's what it's going to come down to against USC. It's probably what it's going to come down to against UCLA. It's probably what it's going to come down to against Penn State. It's probably what it's going to come down to against Iowa. And despite how bad last week looked, if the result flips in 5 to 10 plays where Minnesota had success last week, Nebraska can escape that game with a victory. It's fine margins in the middle class of the Big Ten. If you were expecting Nebraska to blow out Northwestern today, I don't think you're paying enough attention to the Big Ten this year. I don't think you're paying enough attention to Northwestern this year. That's how it's going to be for the remainder of the season. Nebraska, despite the fact it didn't always look pretty today, I mean, they have a chance to win. It's not going to look pretty in really any of the games left this season for Nebraska. They're all going to be close games where Nebraska's going to have to go win more than not of those crucial 5 to 10 plays. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but that's what it's going to come down to in the month of November for Nebraska.
I'll say this, when we're talking about starring roles and who did the carrying of the water, big shot in the arm with Rocco Spindler coming back, that emotional leader, that physical leader. The offensive line did a good job today. They ran for 150. You'll take it, and that's what they leaned on. Secondly, when called upon to make some plays, Dylan Raiola did on that game-winning drive to break the tie, and that's key. And then defensively, they got off the field to sprinkle in the kick return touchdown, and it was more complimentary for sure than it was last week. So quick timeout. We'll hear from Matt Rule next. It's Real Red Reaction. We're live here at Slim Chickens. I should say we're here at the Single Barrel. We're powered by Slim Chickens, but you're invited out of the Single Barrel. Good to be back here as folks in red are pouring drinks and celebrating and probably going to get a big old victory steak. You're welcome to pop on down here as well. Single Barrel, where we're located. Slim Chickens powering Real Red Reaction. A timeout. Matt Rule, when we come back, you can dial up at 489-1240.
State high school football playoffs begin next Friday night, and be sure to check out KFORnow.com and our social media pages for what games we're planning to cover. Catch all the action right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
JTV Jewelry Television. With 80,000 jewelry looks, we're kind of a big deal. Even bigger with new lines of designer handbags, fragrances, and more. And biggest of all, because you could win a 7-night stay in Bali, spending money and thousands worth of JTV jewelry, making you kind of a big deal. Enter by December 7th at jtv.com/sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Then watch JTV on TV or shop jtv.com for big holiday deals.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MEGA25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MEGA25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MEGA25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager, hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
Back Monday on KFOR, Schmidt, Carol, and Jeff.
We'll have a look back on the weekend sporting events, any progress in the government shutdown drama. Putin reacts to President Trump's sanctions with a warning.
Get your thoughts on now. The Real Red Reaction Show is unfiltered at KFOR.
All right, good stuff with Brian. We'll be back here. Yes, single barrel Brian for sure. Brian's awesome. Another average show popping by. Good to see him. We're down here at the single barrel. We're powered by Slim Chickens, 489-1240 to get in. 800-825-5865. Elijah, what do we have on air-wise, partner, before we just go to stream only?
We have 17 minutes and Matt Rule in about 12 minutes.
Okay, so we will quit blabbing and let you hear Matt Rule post-game press conference. The Huskers hold on and win in the fourth quarter against Northwestern, 28-21. Here's Matt Rule.
I'd like to start by first giving a ton of credit to Northwestern. I think in our league we don't talk enough about teams like them, teams like us that are just the way football's supposed to be played. I have the utmost respect for them. Blue collar, tough. 17's a great player. The backs are excellent, really good defense, and I have a lot of respect for them. It was a fight that we knew would be a battle to the very end, and proud of our guys. I thought they showed tremendous resolve. Not many chances in life to have a second chance at something. It was 7-6 at the half. I think you guys heard me say last week I wasn't real happy with the way we were acting about it being 7-6. We got back to just being ourselves this week, and just came out. Took the kickoff, scored on offense, got a turnover, scored on offense. Unfortunately, obviously, let them back in it. But we knew they were going to battle, and I thought Dylan and the offense made the plays they had to in the end when it was necessary. So pleased with the win. We just left it there. We didn't even talk about being bowl eligible, just talked about the way they handled the process of doing what they're doing. And so we're not perfect, but we are 6-2. We do have a nationally televised game this week. I don't know the last time something that big happened in this time of year. It's great to have them in October, September when people want to come see Coach Sanders, but it should be a great opportunity next week for us, and we'll try our best to be ready.
Matt, you guys carried it about 64% of the time on the ground. Was that the approach going in, or was that just the feel of the game as it progressed that you guys wanted to run more in this game than you've done all season?
Well, I think anytime you come off a game like last week where you have that many sacks, you're going to obviously minimize it. Then Gunner, he's been dealing with a knee, practiced during the week, did his best to go ready, just couldn't go after warm-ups. Then Teddy went down with what looks like a pretty serious injury. And so then we had, turn to Tyler and Turner. But we were running the ball at a good clip, and so it's kind of a weird feeling, even in the second half, like we're getting ready to go take the ball, we return for a touchdown, we get the ball back on interception, we score, So we kind of rattled rhythm, I thought, for a little bit there. But I thought the runs were good all day, and then we finished with whatever. I think we would have had probably another 60 yards. Emmett's such a team guy. He knew to get down after the first down. He could have probably scored if he wanted to. But I just thought we were controlling the game early in the first half, or running the football. And late in the game, when we had to drop back, we went to empty and guys made plays.
What did you say about Dylan, that he makes the mistake that he does, but he responds? Maybe one of the best reps in his career.
Today was the best I've seen him in terms of just playing one snap at a time. Even early in the game, though, he never really got into a rhythm because we were running the football at a pretty high level and a pretty good clip. And I thought Dylan, the growth, you sometimes forget because he's so grown how young he is. And I thought that was his best game in terms of poise and presence. And make no mistake, it's another time that, the offense had to go down and win the game. And we went down and won the game on offense. And then obviously the defense gets to stop, and then we win the game in 4 minutes. So that's a situational clinic, and I think that all starts with your quarterback.
Matt, on the review of the fourth down, what were you told? It appeared that he was short. And
I was told nothing. I was trying to calm. I was more worried about Troy. I was trying to calm Troy down, because, I don't know. They didn't, the guys on my side were communicating, but they didn't come over and tell me, I'm looking at it up there. I saw him bobble it. I had to even challenge it, and then they said that, the buzzer wasn't working. If they would have run that play, I'd have been really upset. So I challenged it. Then they said, no, wait, they buzzed it down. But it looked like the ball went up in the air, but I'm going to stay away from that one. And like I said, the great thing for me is when you have an AD that's fiery and, right is right, wrong is wrong. And we didn't get many breaks today. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, Matt, what does it say about your guys answering the bell? It's been a tough week on everybody in the program, but to have them on the way they did after the tone was set early in the week.
Well, isn't that a good thing, though, that you lose your second game and it's a tough week? It means how far you've come.
Yeah.
And that being said, yeah, you're supposed to win. You're supposed to win. And if you lose, you can't lose the way we lost last week. And so that was a learning lesson for everybody. With all that being said, I thought our guys showed tremendous resolve. And anytime you're up, you have that third quarter that you had, which has been an issue for us. And then you let them back in the game. That could have been, here we go again. You think about the last, I don't know how many years, the 2 years I've been here, it would have been like that. And a credit to our crowd. I thought our crowd was juiced up and then the offense went right down there. And honestly, I was kind of hoping that they did mark Emmett short because I was hoping we could run the ball 3 times, maybe kick a field goal as time expired or something like that. But, we have great guys. We have great guys. They work really hard. That's why I always say, I say things like, hey, we're not perfect. I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I'm saying I love being around a group of guys that has to work so hard and who wants to work so hard at everything. And they grind. All they wanted to do was take that game ball at the end of the game to Teddy.
How are you seeing Emmett just grow as a back through his time here to deliver a game like he did again today?
What can he do? He can do it all. He can do all 3 phases. And literally, he's running off the field. He's like, hey, Coach, no mas, which, that's first down, get down. He knew the situation before I did. Ran with 5 points of ball security. On the first one, gets 6 yards. Credit to our O-line and tight ends. They're blocking, receivers are blocking, and then gets the second one in. So, Emmett can do it all. The times he got stopped there, he slipped. And that's a rugged defense right there.
Coach, talk about Kenneth Williams, that 94-yard touchdown return. Pretty amazing seeing that in the stadium.
Yeah, I don't own a business, but if I did, I'd probably get him an NIL deal here pretty quickly. Guys, his payment probably hasn't even processed yet. He's probably still owed money for classes. He's probably still playing for the classes he's in. You talk about a story, but that's why we all got into coaching for things like that, to watch him do that. Eck does just Eck and Nick and Josh and Brett Maher, they do such a good job. And the guys on that group, there was a lot of great blocks out there, and for no one to clip or hold or hit someone in the back. Anytime you run a field bounce return, you put yourself at risk. They have one of the best kickoff teams we've seen in terms of getting down the field, and had a good return, I think, early. The first one, I think, went out to the 30 or so. You guys might remember better than me. And then, you used the south wind in our favor, knowing that we would have a returnable kick and bounced it back. So really happy for Kenneth. Big time play.
Hey, you mentioned how much you appreciated number 17 from Northwestern. How much did you appreciate Andrew Marshall's work today in coverage against him?
Yeah, no, think about it. He got beat on that first double move, and he just kept playing, and even like the DPI he got at the end on the last touch. I thought they were going to call OPI. I thought he was trying to go pick the ball off. I thought so. It's really hard to play defense when they're not letting you play a ton. And but Andrew Marshall's one of the best corners in the league. And we challenged, but even on that at the end of the game, man, we're playing man. I mean, Jameer Khan was thrust into action. He went out there. He's making plays, and just love that about our guys. But yeah, Andrew was excited about this opportunity. 17's an excellent player.
That's another game where defense had to go out and make a stop to get the win. I mean, what was kind of their mindset after they went back out with a lead? Were they comfortable, juiced up?
I mean, I couldn't even tell you that I saw much from them. They were just excited to play, right? And then obviously they hit the first play. Then that kid makes an amazing catch down the right side. And then the last two plays were zero blitz. I mean, John just sent the house one more than they had, and obviously he got outside the pocket one time, and we got confused. And so he said, you know what, we're gonna go after these guys. So I thought they were excited. And then after we got the ball back, I knew we needed one first down. So I said, hey, if we have to punt the ball, they're going to get the ball back with 22 seconds left. And Sierra Wright's just one of the probably the best captain type leader I've seen in a long time. I mean, no shots at anybody else. Just like literally, like I'm talking to the team and I'm like, finish. I'm like, Sierra, you got anything? He's like, yeah, coach. I mean, he's just one of the best. And he had those guys were ready to go, and guys all made plays. And credit to John. I mean, the thing I saw, the growth in Butler. I hate to talk about coaches, but I have to say this: like he didn't care about the score. He didn't care about anything. He's like, hey, we're gonna go play. And that's a lot of growth from last week, because last week all anybody wanted to talk about was the score of the whole game, and it got away from us.
Did he tell you, hey, I'm going to roll the dice and just bring everybody on those last two plays?
Yeah, he said, I said, what do you want? He said, bug, storm, drop. I said, all right. And then the second one, he said, bug, storm, drop. I said, we have a timeout if you need it. If you need a timeout, let me know. And the clock was running down on them. I wasn't sure if they're going to get it off. So I literally, it was one of those deals was like, and held it off. And, the kid they might have connected on it. But, at the end of the day, at some point, you got to force their hand to make them make a play. Right. And so, they made some nice runs. They bounced off some guys in tackling. We were certainly there. We fit the run way better, but didn't tackle well enough. Again, so we're still working on that. But we made the crucial stops needed when you need to make them.
How were you told by the officials regarding that abrupt movement call on the defense?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing. I was told nothing other than, hey, they thought we moved. I mean, we haven't been called for that in 3 years. We don't coach it. We don't teach it. So our guy just went from a 3 technique to a 1 technique. I'll trust that was probably the right call. Who knows?
You guys forced 2 turnovers, but yet turned those 2 turnovers into touchdowns, where you did turn it over twice, but they didn't score. How big of a deal is it when you do get turnovers to convert like that?
Yeah, so it's one of the points that Dana's made since coming here. We talk a lot about the turnover battle. He said, hey, guys, it's not really the turnover battle. It's more of the points off turnovers. And if you go back to Maryland, we gave up 17 points off turnovers. Now, one was a pick 6. If you want to talk about a turning point in the game, I thought when we threw that interception, they scored. We got the ball back, we threw the interception, and we held them to no points. That was a pivotal moment in the game, right? And so, there's a lot of guys out there on defense that are battling, and I think they had the right mindset. They took the field, and that was as big a stop to me in the game as there was. The one right before the half, I mean, it's 4th down, 4th and 1. We call a play. You could see them yell, they're so well coached. Like they alerted it. They were ready for the play. Dylan's just trying to reach the ball across on 4th down. That fumble doesn't really mean it much. It was a tough decision. Should we have kicked it? We're into the wind there. So we said, hey, let's get 4th and 1. We got to go for it. But that one was not negligible. The interception in their territory, though, was a huge play. So I think anytime you hold them to no points off turnovers, you get a couple turnovers, and you have a kickoff return for a touchdown, you're probably going to win the game.
To get to 6, with a month left in the season, just how valuable is that to focus on just winning games, getting better without that pressure of getting to 6?
Yeah, there's no pressure. I told you guys last year, the 6 was awesome last year. We would never talk about it again. It's to me, again, we're still working. We're a work in progress. We're not, we're trying to get better and better and better. I love the group. I love the team. I think I've told you guys from the very beginning of the year, it's one of the most favorite teams I've ever coached. Okay. They literally at the end, they all they want to do is get the ball and take it to Teddy. It's just an amazing group. That might not mean everything to everybody. I think people in Nebraska probably appreciate that, though. It's that's what's so great about this state. People appreciate the little things like that. But I am proud of the fact every once in a while, I have till tonight at midnight to, I'm going to go hang out and watch TV and be fun, Maddie. And then at midnight, everyone will go to bed and you can ask Julie, I'll put the game on and watch the TV copy. And then I'll watch the TV copy, I'll start brooding about USC next week. But I do mean it. I won't say this on Monday, but I'll say it now. To credit to these guys and all the guys who came before them to from where we were to be 6-2 with NBC coming here next Saturday night with a game that matters, and not just for the other team, but for us too. That's progress. And that progress isn't done by me. It wasn't done by me. It was done by these guys. It's done by the guys who've been here for all 3 years. It's done by the guys who aren't here anymore. Like I said, last year we hugged after we beat Wisconsin and people were going nuts. We were bowl eligible. We didn't even mention it in there. I said it to my daughter walking out because that's all they really care about is a vacation. So, but we're just going to try to go play our best game next week and just do that. We got 4 more chances, and I just, as you do this long enough, it's just after being on the road for 2 weeks, it was just so great to be back here. It was just so. I mean, I got here really, really early today, and there's a couple thousand kids in the student section already before anyone's even on the field. It's just such an awesome place and such an awesome home venue that has such an effect on you.
Good.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wish I could give you a better answer. Probably one of the linemen. So probably Justin. He's the ringleader.
Matt Rule, his post-game show and podium session there. Very proud of the team. Excited they beat Northwestern. And he is already on to SC in that spotlight ball game, the helmet game, the iconic helmets, the iconic brands, the iconic Blue Bloods, with SC coming to town next Saturday, 6:30, and BC, as Howard Stern would say.
Back in the day, he mentioned that he doesn't have a business to give Kenneth Williams an NIL deal, but his wife does.
Right. But I don't know how that would work unless
he's got a beautiful head of hair. Doesn't it revolve around hair care?
It does.
Yeah. So I'm saying, come on, let's get a new line of clientele at the dry bar.
That could work. That could.
On the other hand, I'm going to go to that bar fairly soon.
Well,
and I am not a woman who is worried about hair care, so I'm probably just ignorant here. Whenever I hear dry bar, that does not sound like
it just sounds. It slaps you in the face.
This isn't Utah.
Let me. Yeah, this isn't Footloose. What are we doing? I'm gonna go.
It's BYU's campus.
I'm gonna be an accident problem if I don't get up from my seat, which I should have done during the Rule press conference. I will not. I'm gonna slither away real quick to use.
We have 2 minutes left on the air. Can you make it 2 minutes?
I can. Yeah. Don't make me laugh. So we are winding down Real Red Reaction. We'll probably go on the stream for another half hour, and you can get your phone calls in if you like, 489-1240. And if you can't get in the next 2 minutes on air, KFORnow.com, you can sure get in on the stream anyway, though, or just jump on the stream chat with the Average Joe Facebook channel. Like and subscribe there. Like and subscribe to the Real Red Reaction Facebook channel, and Real Red Reaction powered by Slim Chickens. Hooksy and the crew do amazing work for you. Desserts, all sorts of just delectable chicken. When we're talking chicken fingers, we're talking wings, we're talking chicken sandwiches, the salad choices.
And in the biggest upset of the day,
it is undefeated.
Schmitty actually got the 84th and Adams location correct without having to ask Elijah where it is.
It took me a couple of reps, i.e. a couple of post games, but I got it handled. Yeah. 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Cheney. We stopped by the 84th and Old Cheney location to do drive-through there, and we got this just monster order to try and get chicken fingers to Gertie. I think it was Friday. Now, knowing my lovely wife, she probably didn't share. She ate them and said, Gertie, sorry, none for you. But
Schmitty, before we get out here on the air, we have 30 seconds left here exactly. Let's turn that down just a touch here. What does today mean for you moving forward before we transition over to stream only?
There's been a lot made, and I thought we didn't over-dramatize the turning point moment, right? It's kind of a defining ball game for Nebraska. Mark Spindler said as much as well. Nebraska delivered. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always pretty, but they got it handled. They won. They responded. They get to see next week That'll do it for us on KFOR, KFORnow.com. Back at you next time. And we continue live here in the stream. Real Red Reaction powered by Slim Chickens, 489-1240 or 800-825-5865. Ed Foley in the stream chat wants Rule to call out Big Ten officiating. And fellas, we are on to November shortly. We've seen some changes. We've seen Nebraska have 2 winning months, 3-1 each month. Okay. We've seen Nebraska finish fourth quarters with the offense providing a go-ahead score in a tie ball game or being behind. And we've seen the defense get off the field to close out a ball game. We've seen special teams make some monster impacts, provide energy, provide that momentum, and turn the game as well, and for sure not lose the game, but enhance and be a part of the winning formula. Are we going to see a different November? We're seeing a team that is able to get into grind mode. Sometimes they have to be reminded to be in grind mode, but they can find their way to that lane of traffic. So what is in store for November? That's the next thing that is flippable with this year 3 progress, isn't it? Is what November looks like. You guys talk amongst yourselves about that. I'll be back in a moment. You need a old fashioned or a Guinness?
Whatever you bring
Whatever
back
I'm
from under
ordering.
the tree.
I'll be right back. Elijah, I apologize. This is wrong, but I've got to go.
Well, Bill, let me ask you the same question that I asked to Schmitty before we get off the air on KFOR, and welcome everyone in who is checking us out in stream form, the Real Red Reaction show on YouTube, where you can find us, as well as the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube channel, or any of KFOR's social media channels is a great place to find us. So if you are checking in after listening on the air, we appreciate you finding us. What does this win mean for you, Bill, as you look at the final 4 games on Nebraska's schedule?
Well, it's progress. I don't think that Nebraska fluked into a win today. There were some things that were a little fluky, but I was thinking about this. You had a win at Maryland in which Nebraska had to come from behind in the last 2 minutes to pull off a win, and they did it. Yes, it was against Maryland. It was on the road, but they did that, and that's not something that has been done with a regular basis over the last generation. And then today, when the defense needed to win a game, essentially in the last 2 minutes, even though it was, really the last half quarter, that I think Nebraska's defense played pretty well, despite the fact that Northwestern put points on the board and made it uncomfortable. But I think Nebraska's defense took a step forward today, and the interception by Buda Wright might be one of those turning point moments, even though it was an easy play, but they had to do something to make a play to help seal the win. And so I think to a certain extent, while the offense was the star in getting the victory at Maryland, I think defensively, Nebraska made plays when it had to make plays late in the fourth quarter defensively to get a win. So those are 2 benchmark moments, I think, for this football team and maybe for Matt Rule's program. And look, to come off of last week's loss, I mean, last week was one of the top 5 worst losses, or bottom 5 worst losses I've seen in over 50 years of watching Nebraska football. And it comes down to interest and effort and want to, and there wasn't any of that. And today they did what they had to do to get a victory and to bounce back after that loss in Minnesota. So look, it's a positive win. There's no question about that. Now, can they sustain that next week against a team that, quite frankly, is going to be more athletic? We know that. Can Nebraska match them with athleticism and benefiting perhaps from our home crowd? Maybe. What Nebraska I don't think has that would give them an advantage is the brawn. And I'm not talking about David Braun of Northwestern. Is Nebraska? Can Nebraska be out physical USC? And I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. I don't really like the matchup. I remember going back to the Callahan years or whatever year it was when USC came to town, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a good game, and it was over by the middle of the first quarter. Nebraska needs to be much more physical consistently for 60 minutes next week, and I think they have a chance. But if they try to just go athlete to athlete, hand-to-hand combat next week, I don't think they can win that game.
Well, no, Nebraska's going to need to continue.
And I didn't pick them to win that game at the beginning of the season.
Nebraska's going to need to continue running the football like they did today. USC's got a front that can get after Dylan Raiola if he's trying to take 4 or 5 seconds back in the pocket. The game plan today, it wasn't explosive. You kind of played it in a style that was conducive to how Northwestern wanted to play. You accepted the fact that Northwestern was going to be able to kind of control the pace of that football game. You played at that pace. Next week's going to be a completely different pace, but I think the game plan is going to have to be similar, where it's Emmett Johnson early and often. It's using Emmett Johnson to open up some of the quick passing attack. And I think the difference is next week you are going to have to take your chances. There's going to be some moments where you're going to need to take some shots down the field because USC's got an athletic secondary. And if you're just dinking and dunking it the whole way down, eventually they're going to come down. They're going to play aggressive on that. There's going to need to be some moments where you try to take the top off the defense. And I think you have to pick those moments carefully because if you try to pull that out too much, USC's front will get after you. So you have to continue taking pressure off that offensive line by running the football effectively, which is going to make it easier for your offensive line to contain some of USC's pass rushers. That's what I look for offensively. Defensively, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. USC is a team that is going to pass to set up the run. It's a game for McCullough. It's a game for Winery. It's a game for some of your more exotic pressures. And is USC probably going to gash some runs on you? Yeah, that's what happens whenever you bring some blitzes from different places and your defensive ends get upfield in an effort to get after the passer. So be ready for that if you're a Husker fan. But I think Nebraska can handle what USC does offensively because Nebraska's secondary is the strength of their defense. I think if you let Winery and McCullough pin their ears back, they can cause some issues for USC. And you just have to run the ball more effectively, which USC is going to have some success running the football. Every team remaining on your schedule is going to have some success running the football. That's why I don't think Nebraska is going to win every single game, but I think they can realistically be in every single game that they have remaining down the stretch.
Santa Schmitty just brought me an old-fashioned. Somebody in the stream points out that Nebraska should have beaten USC last year in LA. I agree. Red wine. I agree with that. I thought Nebraska was a better team last year. Remember, that was Jordan Maeva's first start, as I recall, for USC. So they were a little unsure of what they had at QB, and Nebraska let him make plays when they should have been able to shut him down. They've got a year with him now, which he's used to their system, and I think he's a really good quarterback. I think, again, I don't think Nebraska can out-athlete USC. I think they've got to challenge the offensive line and try to make it a physical. I think the game plan this week is what you utilize again next week.
Yeah.
I mean, Emmett Johnson had 27 carries, and I said in the on-air portion of the show, Nebraska didn't give the ball to Dylan Raiola and said, "You got to win the game for us." He did have nice plays down the stretch and on third downs and made plays, as somebody pointed out. Yeah, he was significant in the winning the game in the fourth quarter. But for the first 3 quarters, this game was not a game built around Dylan Raiola and letting him throw the ball 35 to 39 times a game. I don't think he ever throws 40 times a game. But Emmett Johnson had 27 carries. It was a concerted effort to establish the run and let Emmett do what he could do, and Emmett did it. So they kept going back to him. And I think if Nebraska does that next week and establishes the run and can get some nice long drives, maybe you take USC out of a rhythm that it wants to get into. But it can't be a back-and-forth game. I don't think Nebraska can win a shootout with USC.
We may have a Papa and Son Spindler sighting here
cool.
post-game.
Both?
Both. So, yeah,
okay.
Hold on.
Let's follow up on that.
I'm doing that right now.
As we look back to this effort today, where do you think that Nebraska, I guess, based on comparing it to what you saw last week, what gave you encouragement from Nebraska today? Were you encouraged? Let's just start here in the minutia. Were you encouraged by Nebraska's run defense today? Because it was still 172 yards on the ground, 5.7 yards per carry.
I thought Nebraska was physical enough at times. Now it's not what I'm even used to seeing under Rule, okay? Because of the personnel. Then that's just the reality. They have different personnel, and Nebraska just does not have the mass on the line of scrimmage. And right in that A gap, there's too many times that Nebraska had their three tech or their nose moved several yards off the line. That's still a thing. And in that short yardage situation, it's going to be a liability. So Nebraska's going to have to be better on second down, on first down, all of that. But I was encouraged at Nebraska's response physically. Northwestern's a physical offensive line, and Nebraska did enough. So I'm encouraged that it was better, but it's still not upper echelon of the Big Ten. And I don't think it's still not upper echelon of the middle class. But you'll be able to hang tight and stick around in these middle class ball games. They've done it enough this season. They beat Northwestern, and I don't know where Michigan State or Maryland end up, but hey, they're going to both of those teams will sting somebody this year.
Hey, and I thought Nebraska's tackling was better today.
Yeah, that's fair.
Donovan Jones had an incredible tackle at a
good.
key moment in the game. In the I think it was in the fourth quarter on a pass out to the flat. That if he doesn't make that tackle, the game is just the outcome's different. That's how significant that was. They also got 55 yards on one carry. So I think for the most part, Nebraska.
And that was such a missed assignment.
That was like everybody missed the assignment on that and got fooled by everything. That's how bad that was. So they have 50 yards on one play. Otherwise, it's a fairly pedestrian 100 so yard day on the ground for Northwestern. So, but I thought, but compared to the tackling last week at Minnesota, it was noticeably different, and it's got to be that way next week.
What do you think, Elijah? Are you encouraged?
Somewhat. I was encouraged more by the fact that Nebraska had some 5-down defensive lineman sets whenever they thought Northwestern was going to be running the football. Enjoyed that. Thought the tackling from the back end was better. And you didn't have as many, despite the fact that Northwestern still got some yardage, and that was the 3rd and 1 or the 4th and 1 where it got bounced outside. That was discouraging. That was poor eye discipline from Nebraska's defense. But for the most part, you didn't see guys in the secondary one-on-one with the running back like you saw against Minnesota, and you saw in other games this year, like Michigan. You had guys gang tackling. You had defensive linemen flowing down the field. I thought they were playing their gaps better. You didn't see Northwestern offensive linemen getting on the Husker linebackers as well as they did in previous weeks. It wasn't perfect, not by any means, but I thought the defensive line played a lot better. And that helped the linebackers play, and that took pressure off of the defensive backs needing to go make one-on-one tackles with running backs, which is a tough ask for guys like that. So encouraged, far from perfect, but after a probably D- performance last week, I give them a solid B- to B in run defense this week. Couple of plays hurt you. Northwestern got theirs. We kind of knew they were going to get theirs. Nebraska's defense is far from perfect, especially stopping the run. But yeah, it was a market improvement from what I saw last week and really in previous weeks in general.
I still applaud Nebraska's resiliency. And they make it must-see TV. They don't bury anybody. They jump out and get you excited. Then the door's left open, or the backyard gate's left open by the wife. I'm still suspicious of that. Oh, no, the dog's gone. Gee, Gertie, mommy doesn't want you. Uncle Andy is there, though, thankfully, to try and corral her. But I'm really thinking Nebraska as a program, just between the years, fellas, they've just been pretty clutch when push comes to shove. And that is a skill, and that's a skill a lot of teams don't have. And I don't know that it's an infinite skill where it's always going to be a thing. But this year's team has found a way to be 3-1. And if you're not Oregon, Ohio State, or Indiana, to have that clutch skill is going to find a way. It's what the Minnesotas It's what the Iowas, it's what the Wisconsins, it's what the Michigan States, it's what they all did during their climbs, during their good seasons, during their seasons that they were at least in the conversation of a team that could. Illinois last year, they were really good in tight ball games. So to be on that part of the ledger right now, and all right, we're talking 3-1 right now. You have 4 more tests ahead of you of one-score games, probably. You hope anyway, coming up in November with that slate, that schedule.
One of the games that down the road is certainly winnable, but what will the mentality be? And that will be the Penn State game. You know, there will be so much distraction, really, for both programs, but probably more so for Nebraska if they haven't made a decision, which they're not going to make. I don't think you're going to hear anything from Penn State until the season is over with. And I'm sure people around here would say, well, they're not going to do that because the coach that they want to hire is still coaching, and they won't make that decision until after the regular season is over, and then somebody else will coach that team in a bowl game. I can hear that storyline. But that's one game where I think you look at it and go, I have zero idea of what could happen when Nebraska goes to Penn State. Next week, you can talk about the athleticism between the two teams, the unpredictability of going out to UCLA, where you're going to have twice as many Nebraska fans as UCLA fans, and you don't know what UCLA is going to be week to week, where they flashed in the pan for a couple of weeks after they fired Deshaun Foster. They got it handed to them last week by Indiana. So Iowa looks dominant, but that Penn State game is one where I'm thinking I have zero idea of what that is going to be like, because the storyline is going to be about the coaching search, and is Matt Rule the guy? And if he lets that be a distraction and the team lets it be a distraction, they'll lose. And so they've got to get that figured out.
Well, one more thing I need to ask for next week in particular, are the black uniforms cursed?
Oh, yeah, they kind of have been, but they've been cursed against Northwestern.
Northwestern, UCLA, Indiana.
Why don't they give those back to Lincoln High? I don't know why we're borrowing high school uniforms.
Okay, I'll be honest. I love the black uniform look.
Yeah, salute to the black shirts and give up 56 points. Got it.
Ouch.
Ouch.
I like the black uniforms. Got to be better than white, right?
Yes. Yep, that's the word. So, guys, as we wind it down, I think Spindlers we're hoping to run Mark down again for SC pregame. And I think we're looking at Mark and Rocco at the bar for postgame on Black Friday.
Okay, yeah, honestly, I can get down with that. Yeah. Because for the last post-game show of the season, regular season, like, we're allowed to drink copious amounts post-game, right? That's allowed now?
Well, I mean, it's a Thanksgiving.
It is right now.
It's a Thanksgiving tradition with Bill Dolman doing a slinky.
Did they?
It's not been a post-game or a final game year tradition to celebrate a win.
Well, remember 2 years ago, Nebraska, Michigan, we did post-game at the bar, and they brought us a pitcher of Slinky.
Yes.
And you refused to drink any of it, and you made me drink all of it.
Well, and then we got Bill his own Slinky, which was nice.
Mississippi Queen was there for that.
Yeah. But the whole world needed a sip of Slinky with Seth and Greg and Allie and company. A little bit better season this year, don't you think? With Nebraska figuring it out and finding the way against Northwestern.
Well, let me ask the question. Would you guys be surprised by 10-2 with this season? Would you guys be surprised by 6-6, 8-4? Like, where are we at with how the rest of the season shapes up after today? Because I think I would be as surprised by 0-4 as I would be as 4-0, which would be honestly not.
They're gonna have to fight to get to 8. I think.
Say that again.
They're gonna have to fight their ass off to get to 8.
Yeah, but I think they go 2-2 down the stretch, and I don't know which 2 that'll be.
If they win next week, that is a monster springboard.
That'd be a monster springboard.
Because that 8-4 could turn into 9-3 or better if they get next Saturday.
Well, in Nebraska's, is it 3-1 in one-score games now this year?
Mm-hmm.
What was the number that was it over 50% we set preseason? in terms of one-score games?
We were trying to. I thought we counted 6 one-score games.
But what their record needed to be in those one-score games, I think we said
they need to be at least 4-2.
4-2, which that's still in front of you. As I look at the rest of the schedule, I likely see 4 potential one-score games in front of you. USC is probably going to be favored, if I had to guess, coming to Lincoln next week. We'll see what that line looks like tomorrow. But it'll be close because that cross-country travel is tough for USC. Nebraska's at home. We always know the fan base is a lot more juiced up for a night game. It'll be juiced next week.
It'll be nuts.
It'll be
Michigan. It'll be Michigan State playoff nuts.
Yeah, that'll be
years ago.
That'll be advantage Nebraska. I look at UCLA on the road. Nebraska now is cross-country travel against a team. I know they got smoked by Indiana today, but they've been resurgent. They believe in themselves. They've been running the football better. That's likely going to be another close football game. Penn State, there's going to be drama and storylines galore with that one. But
they may have quit.
Despite the fact that they have spiraled, they still have great talent all over that roster and a big talent advantage on Nebraska. Have they quit? We'll find out. Wouldn't be surprised to see that as a one-score game. And as I said, Iowa, you're talking 7 straight years of Nebraska, Iowa being one score. Nebraska's been on the wrong side of that plenty, but it'll be a one-score game in Iowa City, and you'll have a chance late in that football game. I can almost guarantee you that. So, I mean, we're talking potentially 8 one-score games for Nebraska, and if they end up 4-2 in those, you feel. Oh, sorry. 6-2 in those. You're feeling pretty good. That'd be 3-1 down the stretch.
Well, you can't right now. You get into November, you can't fade, and that's what last Friday was the concern about. Was are they gonna fade? Where do they go? And it was a crossroads ball game today. And they answered that question, which is good. Early temperature look: 60 degrees, sunny next Saturday. And probably right around 54 degrees at kickoff around 6:30 for Nebraska USC. So there's no John Facenda soundtrack of
Frozen Tundra.
Frozen Tundra, Can See Your Breath, but it'll be a crisp night for football.
I will make
night for football.
I will make a prediction. I think one of these games is going to be a 5-star performance from Dylan Raiola. I don't think we've seen one of those. We've seen some spectacular plays.
I thought he played high level against Michigan.
I thought he played it at a B level against Michigan. But I think you might see a game down the stretch. Don't know which one it'll be, where he goes something like 32 of 38 for 390, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's the talk of the college football world for one of the 4 weeks. I know that's a little general, but we haven't seen that. We haven't seen the 5-star from the 5-star. Today he managed the game really well. He had
that's what they needed.
He had a bad interception, but he made key plays. The play there was a 3rd down, and I think I wrote it down in my notes, that was one of the best plays I think he's had his entire time at Nebraska. I don't see it in my notes here. He stepped around, had pressure coming from the right side, stepped around it, rolled a bit, and threw the pass to get a 1st down. I thought that was one of his best plays of the entire season.
His pocket presence it looked better today. I heard that there was a big emphasis behind the scenes in team meetings and at practice with Raiola this week of getting the ball out quicker and being smarter about the movement in the pocket. You saw it today. There was one where the whole crowd cheered. He rolled out to his right and threw the football away, and you heard a cheer from the Memorial Stadium crowd.
Yeah, and he only threw 22 times today. They didn't force an extra 10 or 15 pass attempts to because he's Dylan Raiola, and they got to do it. They didn't have to do it. They played a good, consistent game plan, found what worked, gave it to their best player on offense. He did his job. He could have had more yards. I mean, he took that slide down in the last minute and a half or whatever it was. He probably could have picked up another 20, if not gone all the way on that play and gotten another touchdown. But he slid down, gave himself up, clock ran, game over. But Emmett Johnson was the focus going in. He performed when he had to, but I think there's going to be a game where Raiola is going to be a 5-star, looking like a 5-star. He'll get a gold star. Nebraska will win because of him. They haven't had a performance like that.
Here's what I need as you're into this final turn of the season, final month of the year. I need to see him not be so hesitant with when he's going to run it still. I mean, he is a baby giraffe trying to run.
Yeah.
With the scramble on that RPO, good.
That's a hell of a picture, baby giraffe trying to.
Well, I mean, just everywhere.
Well, baby giraffe wouldn't hold on to the ball either.
Right, and so you're lumbering forward and you're diving. And listen, it's football, so you better learn to like getting hit. I know quarterbacks aren't supposed to get hit, but it really takes away. And good on him for scrambling and diving head first like he's Ricky Henderson. But the fumble can't happen. Can't happen. You can't try and go John Wayne hero ball and then decide I'm gonna scramble forward and have the ball out like this and then thrust your body into angry 300-pounders and expect good things to happen. That's 3 points you had on the board. And that's a difference in all of these games we're talking about. So it just needs to be better.
Well, I was going to say on the bright side here, at least Dylan Raiola, as a former 5-star, is doing better than former 5-star Eric Gilbert. You guys see this news today? Arrested again in Savannah, Georgia. You'll never guess the charges.
Vape shop.
Shoplifting and obstruction of justice.
Oh,
Wow.
that sucks for him.
Oh. Hey, speaking of that sucks for him, Teddy Prohaska.
Yeah.
Oh my
Teddy's good
God.
dude.
I'd never seen a collective 80,000 people have the same exact thought as
it's not fair.
As what happened when he was down. It was like, who's that? Who's that? It was clear who it was. And it was just heart sinking for one of the really, really good guys that I've ever been around with Nebraska football. And y'all know that's been a long time. I've had Teddy in class. I've had, and my colleagues, we talk about, what a really good guy Teddy Prohaska is. A Nebraska guy who wanted to come to Nebraska, even in the most difficult of times, had his heart set on starring here and playing in the NFL one day, and being one of the greats to reestablish a pipeline, and injury after injury after injury. And I don't know the significance of it other than what Matt Rule said in his post-game press conference, that it looks like it's a significant injury. Players wanted to give him the game ball. But you just felt a collective 80,000 people when they realized it was him, like one of their own, family members, sons. You just wanted a collective hug around the guy. And I cannot say enough good things about Teddy Prohaska. And if he wants to, he'll be a star in our little business here. As good as Rob Zadiska is, and other former Huskers are when they find a microphone in local airwaves, Teddy Prohaska would be a real great guy to have and listen to on the air. And I hope it's not as serious, but I feel really bad if it is and his career is over, because he is a real credit to Nebraska football and Nebraska athletics. And I hope he comes back. But
And the guy, despite the fact that his career has not panned out how he wanted or how Husker fans have wanted, a guy that embodies the end, the heart that he has shown battling back. I think it's been 3 significant knee injuries for Teddy. We'll see what this one ends up being. But to battle back each and every time and make your way back to the football field and to keep on trucking through multiple coaching staffs, through multiple hardships, through multiple losing seasons, man, that's just a guy that embodies the end. And you wish him all the best. You hope it's not what you think it might be. And I'm sure we'll get some more clarity here in the coming days. But that is just a guy that embodies what it means to be a Husker football player, with the heart that he has shown and the drive that he has always shown to get back on the football field, even whenever the cards are stacked against him.
That's Elijah Herbal, Chris Schmidt, Bill Dolman. We are here at the Single Barrel. It's Real Red Reaction. We're powered by Slim Chickens. 14th and Pine Lake, 84th at Old Shady, 84th and Adams. You can get your Slim Chickens fix. Junior and Mama are out to try and capture the German Shepherd. You got Mr. Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty. Ryan and Jeff popping by. I wonder if November can be big for Riley Van Poppel as he got in, got hosed on a flag, but he also had some nice plays, in on the line of scrimmage for sure. And it was good to see him active. Gabe Moore is a guy that I liked seeing as well, and he gets held a lot. Ever since you've seen him getting more snaps, there's a lot of guys that get their hands on him. I'm anxious to see Nebraska's, hand movement and violence increase moving forward, because the last 2 weeks, the opposing offensive lines have gotten their hands on Nebraska guys moving forward. Gray Woman 79 also chiming in on wanting to see more out of RVP. And yeah, we'll see if Nebraska can kind of ramp up what their front defensive line looks like, and the offensive line keep on keeping on with providing some running lanes. It was great to have Rocco back. We always wind it down with this. We tell you to like and subscribe to the Average Joe Sports Show on YouTube. We're back tomorrow, Sunday live at 10:30. Also can subscribe to Real Red Reactions Twitter and, of course, YouTube channel, KFOR, KFORnow.com. A word, fellas, to sum up. What best describes today for Nebraska? What's the word that comes to your mind as Nebraska wins at 28-21? Bill Dolman, you lead off.
Is a word?
A sigh of relief.
I'm going to say important. Yeah. It was an important win after what transpired at Minnesota. And you came home. It was a late arriving crowd for an 11 o'clock start. I was worried that there were going to be too big of pockets of emptiness in Memorial Stadium, but they did fill in the dots pretty well, so that was good. And to win a game that you had to gut it out and find more of themselves. I go away from that they went away from Dylan Raiola as having to be the guy. And I think they forced that. Yeah. It's got to be Raiola. Raiola's got to throw. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. Today, he was just a role player today. He made some nice throws in the fourth quarter when he had to have it. But for the most part, he played a role within the team today. Emmett Johnson was the star, got good blocking. Defense made plays when it had to. They overcame some really bad officiating and got an important victory that gets them to 6. There's not going to be the discussion about when are they going to get to be bowl eligible. We've gone down to the last weeks of the season, the last couple of years, and they got it. So I think this is incredibly important for Nebraska football to have some semblance of momentum and belief that we did it. We came back from a really bad loss, and now we can focus on perhaps winning a game against USC, because for this week, we got the fans back. That's another part of why this game is so important.
Yeah, to me, the word, and should we go back to your defensive line point just briefly here? I think they are what they are. I think today Nebraska did a better job of scheming for what they were and making sure that aside from the one on third down where we had poor eye discipline, the 5 and 6 yard rushes weren't turning into 70-yard rushes. But I think the guys like RVP and Keona and those guys in the interior, they are what they are. You're going to have to scheme around them and make sure that you have a plan in place for them every single week. But the word for me this week is reboot. It kind of feels like a week where, last week the computer was a little bit overloaded, had too many programs running. It freezes up at a crucial time. Yeah, you got a paper due at midnight and your computer just froze.
Close out some tabs.
You got to do Control-Alt-Delete, reset the system.
Clean the cache.
Reboot it back up. This was the reboot week where, hey, it's still an old computer that's got some issues and you better not overload it. But it was back to running how it should, which is still not great. It's still not perfect, but you've rebooted it and you can at least get that paper written. And the paper might not be great because you're still working on a deadline, but you have got that paper in hand. You're back to working on it, and now you're up against the deadline of, I got to get it in by midnight. But reboot is the word for me. It seemed to be back closer to what we expected from this Husker football team. Not perfect, Good enough to win some football games. Good enough to keep you in, I think, all the football games you have left. Good enough to get that paper written by midnight.
Gray Woman says last week we had a virus.
Yeah.
Somebody downloaded malware when they should. Hey, be careful what you watch online, people.
Last week you went to Tijuana and came back hurting. I'm going to go phases, right? That's the word.
What is it?
Phases. Because all three made it happen today, and that's been rare around here. But the defense got the interception. Rule talked about that was the key. After the interception, they get the interception back. And then they go score off of it. Special teams lit the fuse in the second half in a 7-6 ball game. Kenneth Williams stepped up and made a big play. And then defensively, you were able to get the stop on fourth down, and you had pretty good energy today. I mean, it was one of those cup check ball games for you in the season. I'm going to switch it from phases to cup check. It's 2 words, but that's what it was. And Nebraska responded, and folks weren't real sure that was going to happen, despite Matt Rule, despite year 3, despite history. Just based on how the mood and the vibe was. Folks are in a good mood now, and they're understanding and accepting that it can be either ugly / gritty, whatever term you want to use, but you'll take it because it was great. It was greatly fought. There was a ton of effort, and you need to understand that this team kind of is far from perfect or elite, but they're trying to win.
Well,
and they found that out.
You saw the strain today, right, Schmitty?
Yes. Speaking of strain, Gertie won, Uncle Andy nothing, as she has raced away, limp and all, from the brother-in-law. Sorry.
Hey, let me ask you this. Is lifetime contract from Mike Eckler one word?
No,
it could be.
Well, all right, we'll take out the spaces and make it one word. I don't care if you make him vice chancellor of academic and special teams affairs at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'd find an office spot for him over there in Barner Hall on East Campus and let him do whatever he wants to do at Memorial Stadium. But I wouldn't let that Nebraska native leave like ever. All right, give him tenure for God's sakes. I'm not going to get it, so he might as well have it.
I love it. Brad of Fairbury, Bill Dolman. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for the old-fashioned.
Elijah.
Really good old-fashions down here at the Single
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah.
They have 200 whiskeys to choose from. They have a whole plethora of steaks cooked perfectly for you. That dirty rice they have is amazing. And we invite you down here. I'm thinking probably 4-ish. For the weekend edition of the Average Joe Sports Show next Saturday in front of Nebraska USC. Going to be as big a game. It's been here, well, since Michigan this season, but it'll be as big a game Nebraska's had in November probably since that Michigan State 2015 game when they came in. It can really flip the season. Today saved the season for Nebraska, and the Huskers are 6-2. We'll be back tomorrow. The Average Joe Weekend Edition, Sunday live show at 10:30 on YouTube. Find us. Gary Sharp will join us. And we'll be back at the Single Barrel here Friday, coming up at 4, ahead of USC Nebraska, and then also likely at 4 next Saturday to get you ready for SC and the Big Red. Appreciate all of you in the stream and all the Average Joes listening Monday through Sunday to us on the radio and on YouTube. Big thanks to Slim Chickens for powering us through on Real Red Reaction. 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Shady, and 84th and Adams. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 10:30 with the Average Joe Sports Show and Real Red Reaction. Thanks.